Criminal defense attorney Caitlin Hayes, from Empire State Arrests, is live on Concrete Media with Pinchy Clark. Caitlin talks about wrongful convictions, the shocking truth about lawsuit, exploring therapeutical approaches in criminal justice. Now here is your host Michael Pinchy Clark. With criminal defense attorney Caitlin Hayes.
Yes.
Hi,
Indeed.
Michael. So great to be here with you guys today. It's a new day for New York City, that's for sure. And I'm excited as a criminal defense attorney for opportunities that may be available in a different terrain for my efforts in ensuring that, arrests are made lawfully, that crimes meet the statute, basic things that avoid the wrongful convictions 20 years later, of which New York City itself paid $200 million in police brutality lawsuits just last year, I read. Not just, we have, obviously, we have accountability for everybody that's working in the state. You have the laws that you guys made yourselves, so obviously you have to enforce them. But, we have a opportunity to maybe develop a little bit more therapeutic approaches and expand treatment courts and try to see what else is available. Yeah, in 2024, $205 million. I just wanted to clarify that. $1 million was paid out for police brutality lawsuits. Now, that's a lot of money that maybe could have gone to
Wow.
education. And so I'm like interested because, there's a big program in the Southern District Court of New York, a pro bono, that I'm not admitted to
Yes.
yet, but I'm
Yes.
aspiring to get to that. To do some of those wrongful conviction appeal work. And,
Yes.
I've been doing the practice in the lower courts. In the lower courts, I've had experiences where the crimes being charged the elements do not meet the statute. So,
Yes.
you have a lot of rush,
Mhm.
and this is, this is you can reverse engineer whatever you want. If you have some information, maybe you get a cell phone illegal search and then you have information about, we want to be able to avoid that and ensure the constitutionality of the rules of engagement with the police and the people. I think this is a good terrain for some of my interests in that area. Police have rights, people have rights, but there's rules of engagement for all parties. And I think the past few years, what I've seen for my own self and for other people is that the rules of engagement, they're not where they need to be as it regard
Yes.
to accountability of a system. The criminal justice system needs to be accountable for these wrongful convictions at the tail end. And let's start from there. How much money are you paying for not doing your job in the beginning, for not reviewing the acts of the constitutionality of the arrest, which some of these overturns happen because the bad acts of the state, of the agents of the state, the cops, and then that gets compounded to 20 years in prison. So a life is lost and you have to pay that out. And these are quite avoidable. It's quite actually avoidable because when you look at a case, you could see the elements of the case. You can read the
Yes.
statute. I mean, there's always a room for error. I mean, I'm not saying every singular case. I'm saying that when you have already assuredly wrongful convictions that have been paid out, we already know they went through the whole rigmarole to get the judgments, to get that payout. So we have to understand that there is some opportunities of real serious growth in criminal justice, and I think I see an opportunity. I haven't been involved in the mayor's race at all. I'm not even familiar with the mayor, but in terms of understanding accountability for the system, the criminal justice system at large, it seems as though that's quite an alignment with my interests. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Indeed. Indeed.
So I want to hear what's going on in New York. How was the party last night? I bet it was crazy in New York. I bet people are still partying from last night,
You
huh?
people are very excited, and the turnout. What most even politicians, what they look at is the record number that people came out to vote, and that is one of the most important thing that really happened. It's really good. When you're doing something like that, you want to really see people coming out to vote. Whatever party they choose. Politics is
Well, right, and that's the biggest
it's fun,
testament.
but it's also something you could cry about. Some people go home crying, and some go home with joy in their hearts, right?
Well, it's the right of the governed to choose who governs them. So it's the right of the governed. And people have talking points. People get elected. People have things. So I haven't really studied this particular campaign, but so that's not really my. I'm not quite under. I don't know everything. I want to get the vibe and what people are thinking about it now that he's elected. But for me, I'm really steadfast in this area of ensuring that, you know, you have a civil rights law example in New York. After the George Floyd, there were police accountability laws that were put in place in Connecticut, New York, and other places. And I don't
Yes.
even see them being enforced. And, I don't really mind. Everyone has to do their job. But again, rules of engagement is a fundamental part of policing. Um, so whatever everyone has, whatever type of, I don't know, a lot of people have concerns about communists, socialists. I mean, I don't really get involved with all that stuff because at the end of the day, people just want to have a good life and don't want to be bothered and abused by people. I mean, like, it just so happens that certain people align in certain times and certain things, pop itself off. But at the end of the day, I see that as an expression of the inflation of costs, the challenge of living,
Mhm.
there's been a lot of, forget about the mandates. People are still recovering from the mandates. That's just only been a couple of years when we were in lockdown. Don't forget, we're still dealing with the
Right,
psychology of
right,
that
right. Indeed,
and the
indeed.
after effects of that too, and the disgruntlement about that too, and people realizing that, hey, I probably got gaslit into undergoing a medical procedure that I didn't want to, and maybe I have consequences now. I haven't started
Mhm.
that part of my law practice, but I want to do that.
Yeah,
So I was doing my God said no during mandates, that. But I want to do my peace work too and be happy and be peaceful because, I don't want to chase all this suffering either, Michael. It doesn't
yeah.
seem to end. But at the end, I think just staying firm and okay, just rules of engagement, just make sure the charges you're bringing against clients match the statute. I mean, imagine. And you have to ensure that the constitutionality of the arrest doesn't preclude an overturn of this conviction later on in a later date. This is not unreasonable, Michael. This is absolutely not unreasonable. And yet, you know, there's a challenge of accountability, and I want to help meet that challenge.
What are some of the most repeated, if I may say, repeated charges that come against civilian? Or something. If you want to say it's a mistake
I could
or
say an
what it
area.
is. Mm-hmm.
I think once you're in the system, the violations of probation orders can get really draconian. They can
Mm-hmm.
get really draconian. Here said,
Yeah.
she said, he said, she said. And sometimes they don't have the requisite evidence for those, and it's just the word of an officer, and they don't supply the requisite evidence. So these kind of things. That's if you're on probation, that becomes really, sometimes they're just looking to just violate you. But at the end of the day, it's good to avoid the cops and avoid situations. But sometimes
Mm-hmm.
things come up, and then when they come up, there's already rules in play. So you got to follow the rules in play. Otherwise, this is bedlam. This is bedlam. You can't
Mm-hmm.
drag people. New York, there's a civil rights law 28. You got to get medical treatment before they process an arrest. I mean, that's because we're human people, we're human beings, and we don't think that you should have somebody bleeding and being processed for an arrest that would exacerbate the injuries that maybe were resulted from the arrest itself, for example. Things
Yes.
like that, Michael, right? Things of basic human consciousness of prisoner rights and accused rights and because at the end of the day, people have to reintegrate into society, and we want to have a therapeutic approach to criminal justice. And I think that's really where my heart is at. Because if you have a character flaw and you found yourself in a situation, or you were with the wrong people at the wrong time, or you pissed somebody off, or whatever it is, or you're retaliated against for exercising your rights, or sexual discrimination. I mean, a multitude of reasons could find you in a situation that's a little sticky, right? But having a surety that things are going to be followed by the rules, I think is a basic tenet of a society. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what kind of like irks me a little bit, and I'm working for that area of accountability on the wrongful conviction part of it because I think reversing that idea and explaining that idea resonates a little differently. And another wrong, no, this guy, he's admitting he's innocent, he's in there, no one gives a shit. But at the end, when you have the wrongful conviction and 20 years in jail, and then you have the proof is in the pudding,
Wow.
and you realize and you can go through the entire case, and I haven't done this exercise yet, but I would be like, I probably will do that if I go and reverse through the cases and see where the errors were. Well, that would be in their judgment probably. So anyway, there's opportunities of growth and opportunities of accountability and rules of engagement in the criminal justice system, and that's just bottom line. That's just bottom line, Michael. But I'm so
Yeah.
grateful we got to pop on today, Michael. Thanks for taking me. Thanks for coming
Yeah.
on with me.
Indeed. 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 And one more time, where people can find you. Right there.
EmpireStateArrests.com, the website, and 914-719-6945. Leave a message if no one is there. Otherwise, I'll call you back. Or you can, Caitlin Hayes Law at Instagram. You can DM me over there too. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Don't worry. We can go to court and handle it one step at a time. We go one step at a time, and when we're gonna handle it. Okay.
Definitely. That's the lady to help you. Look out for her.
That's it.
For real. Thanks for joining
For
me.
real. Thank you so much, dear. All right. I'll see you later.
Yeah, talk to you.
Concrete media, news, entertainment, information, videos, media coverage, and photos.